Well, they set it up for people to feel betrayed when this happens, and I think it's a natural thing for people to feel betrayed.
Hi. Welcome back for a Golden Bachelor special. It's like a Christmas special.
Yeah.
We just wrapped up the series finale, and we saw a lot of talk in the comments and just been hearing about it all over the place. So we decided to clarify a few things, and we wanted to kind of dive into the controversy a bit.
Yeah. Can I say something first, though? We hit 200 subscribers yesterday, which is like, for some channels, not a big deal. For our channel, a really, really, really big deal and very cool.
Yeah.
And we were both very excited. Thank you to everyone that's subscribed and is interacting with our content. Yeah. The comment section it's
so cool.
Wild.
Yeah.
It's so good.
I was saying to Ashley, actually, that with some of the videos, it kind of feels hard even, like, putting them up. But with this, we filmed it on Friday night, and I stayed up until, like, 2 a.m. editing and putting it out. It's just because I knew people were reacting so well to it and being so kind in the comments and, like, just having fun with it that it felt really good to be able to just stay up all night working and then posting it in the morning. I barely slept. But then when I saw how it was doing, I felt super awesome. So I really appreciate everybody's support and commentary, and I'm glad you're enjoying it, honestly.
Your positive comments are awesome. The interactions y'all are having with each other are so cool to see, like, a little, like, community forming in the comments and people talking back and forth with it, which I think is great. Yeah. For the most part, people are being really respectful, and it's just really cool. It makes, at least for me, I think the same for you, but I'm, like, excited to post a video and then see, like, what people are going to say and, like, you know, because you only know what you think, but it's, like, it's nice to hear what other people think and hear other ideas that maybe you didn't think about. And,
well, some cogs turned, and that's some of what we're going to talk about today is, like, hearing people's opinions and being like, okay, well, maybe that is the case, you know? Like, that's kind of an interesting take I didn't think about. It's kind of cool being able to have that dialogue.
Yeah, for sure. So thank you.
Thanks. Anyway.
Yeah.
So we, before we filmed, I read, like, half of the Hollywood Reporter article that I linked that my dad sent me, and I'm like, that was enough for me to be like, okay, this guy has told some lies. But we didn't read the whole thing until after I had even posted the video. So my perspective of things has kind of moved around a bit, and also some of it hasn't changed so much. But I thought it was kind of important to clarify, like, what we even felt about that. Yeah,
I think for me, too, in an effort to avoid spoilers before the finale, I didn't want to know who won, so I didn't want to read anything for fear that it would spoil the winner of the show. And then when we watched it, it would be ruined for us, and then our reactions wouldn't be genuine. So I was trying to stay away from all that content, and all I kept seeing was headlines about Gerry being a liar and, like, you know, maybe not representing himself the way that would correlate to the facts. So I think we wanted to film us talking about what came out. So, like, the information that was released after the show finale aired, and then maybe talk about how that changes our reaction to the end of the show.
Honestly, the whole season.
Yeah.
In a way. Yeah, so Hollywood Reporter, and it seems like it's pretty well vetted with, like, multiple people and family members or whatever. They ran an article a lot of you have read saying that Gerry lied a lot about his past after his wife died, effectively.
Yeah.
So he on the show he says that I guess he intimated that he didn't even kiss anybody since his wife died.
He said stuff like he hadn't dated in 45 years, so, like, implying that his whole relationship with his wife, but then after her death, he didn't date at all. Yeah, like, heavily implied or, like, straight up said. And then this article is some evidence contrary to that. So the article alleges that they talked to someone who doesn't want to be named because she doesn't want to be famous, and I'm sure doesn't want the backlash associated with it.
It seems like a good idea. I respect her in doing that.
Yeah, but they're calling her Carolyn. And essentially she said that she knew Gerry and worked with him at a mental health facility while he was still with his wife and his wife was still alive. And then about a month after his wife passed, Gerry reached out and asked her to go to dinner with him, and they started flirting, having maybe some sexy text messages, and then a few months later we're in a full-blown relationship.
That in total lasted like 3 years between dating and living together.
Yeah.
Which is a lot different than not kissing anybody for Yeah, so it's kind of whack, honestly.
Yeah, it definitely gives you the feeling that, like, he was not genuine in a lot of the things that he was saying and the narrative that was being portrayed while he was on the show. I don't know if it's in the Hollywood Reporter article, if it was somewhere else, but people are also saying this is not the only woman that he dated. And not, like,
I think they said that he, like, dated a couple of women.
Yeah, longer than just a couple dates. Like, he was definitely dating.
Yep.
And then this woman, Carolyn, he actually lived with. And then it sounds like the breakup was not the most amicable of breakups.
She apparently claims that she gained 10 pounds and that he basically, like, insinuated she was fat and that he wouldn't take her to his high school reunion, which, if true, is really messed up.
Yeah. As, like, not a small woman, like, it's offensive to me for sure. I was telling Mitch earlier. Also, though, like, 10 pounds, 20 pounds, you know what I mean? Like, who knows?
Well, also, much? That doesn't matter, right? Like, I gained 10 pounds, but she actually gained 20, but, like, that's not the important part, you know?
Yeah, for
but
sure.
But she gained some weight, maybe, and this is what her claim is, and then the relationship fell apart, which is a weird reason to break up a 3-year-long relationship, but also not, like, it's a weird reason for him to break it up. I can understand not wanting to continue that if you're, like, being insulted by your partner. Yeah. At that point.
Right.
Yeah.
And then apparently she had moved quite a ways away from where she lived to live with him. He, as a result of the breakup, was like, all right, you got 2 weeks to get out of here.
Yeah.
And then she broke her foot in the process of moving out, like to the point where she had to go to the ER and get foot surgery, and apparently Hollywood Reporter vetted that with medical records, so that's confirmed.
She did break her foot at that point in time.
Right.
Yeah.
And Allegedly, Gerry was like, you did this on purpose.
A messy breakup, in other words.
Messy breakup, yeah. Yep. And then he was like, nah, you can't stay here while you recover. You got to get out anyway.
Yeah, he, like, accused her of being, like, you're trying to, like, stay here longer and stuff by breaking your foot, which I think is a little whack. But also, people do accuse people of stuff like that.
And that's all alleged, too. It's, like, a little bit tough because, like...
You're getting one side of it.
Yeah, you're hearing one person's side, although it really does not portray, like, a very nice picture of Gerry as a human being.
And then Gerry basically hasn't denied it, but he hasn't, like, confirmed. He said that he just wants to move on with his life, which is, to me, a way of almost being like, yeah, something happened, and he's not going to go into details. In a way, that's fair, that he's not going to just, like, go back and forth with this. And also, strategically, it's a good idea for his image to just avoid everything, move on with his life, get married.
I will say, too, I was talking to my mom about this, and she was like, at least he didn't lie. Like, he didn't say, no, none of that happened. She's lying.
I think he couldn't because it's too provable.
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, because apparently this woman gave, like, text message proof, and then they had, like, friends and family that were around during that time that also confirmed her story.
Gerry said that he was going to marry her to her mom, and
which super consistent with the crap he pulled on Golden Bachelor.
Actually, I didn't even think about that. So that's like he basically Leslie'd Carolyn.
Or, like, Faith, too, right? He sat with Faith's family, and he was like, you know, I could be your, like, grandfather to, like, little kids and stuff. I mean, it was just, like, it was too much. Yeah.
So there's some consistency there. It's believable.
Yeah. And then the other thing that came out that is maybe inconsistent is that they described him as, like, a retired restaurateur, but apparently that restaurant he sold a very, very long time ago.
It's like 85 or something?
Yeah.
It was years ago.
Years and years and years before he actually retired. And then after retirement, he did work, like, odd jobs. So doing things like installing hot tubs and like handyman work, and then eventually worked at this mental health facility where he was a maintenance worker, where he met Carolyn.
Yeah. Which we neither of us are really that bothered by. I'm not, like, I feel like he also said, like, yeah, he did some stuff to kind of get out of the house and stay busy, which makes sense. Like, if you retire at 55, you got a lot of activity left in your body and your life potentially. Like, you want to, like, kind of get around and, like, do stuff. Or he wanted to help people. Well, his coworkers described him as really delightful.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people were like, oh, this, like, proves the kind of narrative that he might be gold digging a little bit with Teresa. But so my dad retired, was not hurting financially, and took a job as a security officer because he was honestly bored and a little lonely.
Yeah.
And he wanted to have coworkers again. He wanted to interact with people. It was something he thought he would enjoy. And he ended up, you know, like quitting that job. But it wasn't, he didn't take that job because he needed the paycheck.
Yeah.
He took it because he wanted to feel accomplished in doing something after he retired from his full-time profession. So I can easily see how that maybe is what happened with Gerry.
It feels like a smoking gun to me, like,
No.
or whatever. The straight up lies are problematic for me. Like, I'm actually, when I look back at it, like we were openly emotional throughout this entire like season, and I feel played.
Yeah.
And so like. I'm like, man, we're giving so much to this like show that has a fake narrative around it, and you know, I'm a little frustrated partly at Gerry, but also again, like I said already, in the previous episode, I'm frustrated at the show. I find it virtually impossible to believe that the show didn't know that Gerry had these relationships. Apparently, they go through like FBI background checks and thorough like investigations into their life.
Yeah.
If true, they knew. And they set up this situation.
It's hard, too, because it's hard to know. Like, maybe they did know, maybe they didn't know. I would assume that they did for the same reasons that you're saying. And they talk to people's friends and family. They do, like... It sounds better. The narrative is better that he lost his wife and then was grieving for 6 years and never really dated or found anyone. Like, that narrative is something that people attach to more.
Described him as a born-again virgin, basically. Like, that's the way they're treating it.
That's what someone online
said. Okay. But it's, it feels...
I can't take credit for that.
That's how it feels like they're selling it.
Yeah.
And so what it feels like to me is that they wanted to create this narrative around him. Of course they do. That he's, like, such a catch that who wouldn't dream about, like... And he seems really nice on the show. He's very good at placating people. He's very like you know, good at communicating and stuff. But like, so they created this narrative and they sold it pretty hard.
Yeah.
They did that on purpose.
Yeah.
It feels like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because more people are gonna tune in, and it tugs at your heartstrings more than if you think that he moved on a month after his wife died. Which
is also, we've talked about, kind of weird, kind of. There's some parts here which is like, so what I wanted to say though is, I guess like is Gerry Satan? A lot of people are like, he's a narcissist, he's a sociopath, all he does is lie. He doesn't seem like a great guy. He doesn't seem like a great guy to me, but he doesn't seem like Satan to me. He seems like a average dude that they put on a pedestal, which for me, I'm frustrated by still as well.
Yeah.
But I'm like, I'm not gonna, I told you already, I'm not ready to qualify him as a narcissist and all that. Some people, you feel the way you feel, but you know, I'm just like, he's a slightly problematic dude in his 70s. Like, he's average, you know? Like, I don't know.
I agree. I think like the deception was like how they built him up and the narrative of who they pretended he was, and that being not who he actually was. If I look at it and they had just been honest from the outset that he had relationships after his wife passed, I really don't think that I would have been upset by that at all. It's like the build up of it being something different than the actuality of it. That's hard. And then also, like, at the end of the day, if Teresa is not bothered by it, then and her family isn't bothered by it. I mean, the people directly affected, if they're not bothered, if they maybe had those conversations, they were just off camera.
It could have been, I've thought about that.
Like,
how much he could have been like, hey, Teresa, I know I've been telling everybody that I haven't kissed anybody since then, but like production and I agreed that was the best angle.
Yeah.
You know, he could have literally told Teresa that already. We don't know.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know?
And you really don't know how much, like, I don't know how many people watch Love is Blind, but the last season of Love is Blind, there were two people
I was thinking same exact
that knew each other in real life, like in their real dating lives they had dated previously. And they made connections with other people and didn't tell them. And then it came out after the show aired that it was because production asked them not to.
It was cooked.
Yeah.
Like, so like it was easy to be mad at them, and they were still like, that was a kind of a weird situation as well. But it was also like, production is largely responsible for that. Not a lot of stuff is slipping by them.
No. Yeah. And it's hard because Gerry is like the face of all of this. He's getting a lot of the backlash. Like, I think at this point, I probably have a healthier perspective of him as like a flawed person and someone maybe that, like, I don't think he's a perfect representation of like who a man should be. Not that I ever really went in with that, but that's kind of how they were building him up.
What happens with every bachelor though It's like, oh, he's amazing. He's a heartthrob. And it's like, well, he's actually, all this is a lie. It feels, I said to you.
Well, because they're real people. Real people have skeletons in their closet. Real people have been mean to people before. Real people have had messy breakups. Like, real people have acted in ways that they wouldn't maybe act if they had to do it again. And, maybe he's not everyone is like super nice and kind all the time. Like maybe that's just really not who he is day to day. It doesn't make him evil.
Yeah, and so that's the thing too, is like he's at least sometimes a jerk. We saw it on camera. He was a little patronizing to Leslie, and she was like legitimately mad at him for good reason.
Yes.
He was also married for 45 years, and he raised like a good, healthy family. Like it's complicated because the things we know about him on paper are that he's kind of a jerk. And he's got some all other redeeming qualities. And to me, again, it just goes back to, like, he's kind of a normal dude.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not here to defend him at all. I'm not here to defend any, like, I'm mad about the lies. And in the video, I was like, I'm going to fight him. I'm not going to fight him. But,
that was a joke. It was also,
it was a joke.
Like...
They're just jokes.
Listen, like, we're both pretty bombastic people. So, if we're saying, like... something and it seems a little exaggerated, it's probably just because it like makes us laugh a little.
We're just
like,
trying to make each other laugh, honestly,
right?
Is really what
it's
this whole
not
thing is.
It's not that serious at the end of the day,
But I also feel like I don't want to tell other people how to feel. I think like as long as people aren't harassing and stalking him, cool. But like be mad on the internet, tell people that you think he's a narcissist if you want, defend him if you want. Like I don't think any of these, like you're allowed to feel the way you feel about it. We all have complicated backgrounds. Maybe it's kind of triggering for some people. Maybe it's just you get frustrated by this kind of stuff.
Well, they set it up for people to feel betrayed when this happens, and I think it's a natural thing for people to feel betrayed. Like you feel connected to these people because you're watching them and it's a reality show. So you're seeing this piece of their life, and it really it does. I felt a degree of like betrayal when I saw what I saw about him. I was like, wait a second, that's not the story that they told us.
Yeah, absolutely. I was mad. I was
yeah. So I think it's absolutely natural to feel mad. And then however you want to express that, I think as long as you're
relatively
like
healthy,
being reasonable with people, like it's fine. And then I also feel like at the end of the day, it's really up to like him and Teresa and their families to figure out what works best for them. And I do hope that she will be signing a prenuptial agreement.
Regardless. Honestly, so regardless of how good or bad he is, sign a prenup.
Sign a prenup.
What I mean? Like, that's just smart.
Please, Teresa.
That's smart.
You smart. You made a lot of money in your career, okay?
Don't risk that on, but, like, do you really love me if you, like, the people, like, are very emotionally coercive. If she signs a prenup and he agrees to it, or if he signs a prenup, rather, like...
Well, they would both sign it.
I know, I get it.
And we don't know, frankly, like, I don't know that he doesn't have a ton of assets. Like, people have family wealth. People make a lot of money from things that you don't think that they would make a lot of money from. Do you know what I mean? So it's very possible that he has a bunch of wealth and that's, not important to him. But yeah, hopefully they sign a prenup.
And then beyond that, if they're happy, I don't care. I'm ready to move on. Like, just kind of let them live their lives, I guess. Like,
yeah, I mean, I won't be watching the wedding because, like, I could care less.
Anyway,
but and especially after hearing all of this stuff, I won't be watching the wedding. But yeah, people are people.
People are people. And I think the number one comments that I really resonated with, I loved all the comments, and I was interacting with quite a few of them.
They're good.
At the end of the day, a couple people have said, this is a TV show. And it's true. And that's the thing about reality TV is it's real and it's not. And it's manufactured and it's actually people going through the situation. It's like a game show in a way.
Yeah.
Like their emotions are high. They're actually hurting each other emotionally. But also, like, they created this narrative. They put them through all these situations. It's manufactured to create drama. And we kind of fell for it.
Do you know, though, what frustrates me about that is that, like, as a person that, like, I cried a lot watching this. I mean, they, like, tugged at my heartstrings so much. And, it was a lot of people being very vulnerable and very open, very emotional. And, like, I get a little choked up about it even now, like, thinking about some of it. It really does piss me off that they elicited that reaction from me, and then it was kind of under false pretenses. Like, I feel a bit, as an audience member, emotionally manipulated by the show.
I hear you, yes.
And
you invested.
that makes me mad. Yeah, so in that way, it's not just a TV show. Like, I've, used my emotions, and, like, I've kind of, like, wasted my empathy on situations that maybe wouldn't have hit me the same if I would have had the actual, like, reality of the situation instead of like a created narrative by the production team.
It feels like a deceitful GoFundMe, but instead of investing money, we invested time. But we did get emotionally manipulated into buying into this whole thing. So
invested my tears into the show. Okay,
I over and over again, and I'm going to say this probably every show we watch. I'm more mad at the show than I am at Gerry. I think Gary's kind of a garbage person, but he's also not the worst person in the world.
He's whatever.
And the show though did this to us. That's where I feel at the end.
Yeah,
like they're responsible.
I agree with you.
I'm mad at them. I'll still watch the trash because it's entertaining, but I don't like them.
I just wish they would tell us the truth. Like, we can handle the truth as audience members. I wish they would just tell us the truth. Because I don't think it would. I still would have watched the show, you know? Like, I wouldn't have not watched it. And I also think Leslie dodged a bullet. So
yeah, I agree with those comments too.
You know?
Yeah, good for her.
Good for her. Because I don't think that would have been the right situation for her. And I'm really glad that she didn't end up in that situation.
Yep.
And I'm looking forward to Golden Bachelorette. And I don't know who I want to be Golden Bachelorette. So y'all tell me who you want to be Golden Bachelorette, because I am torn. Yeah. There's so many people that I could picture as Golden Bachelorette. And they've got to do it, right? They got such good ratings.
They got to. They've
got to do it.
They're not going to pass up money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Someone online said something about Golden Bachelor in Paradise, which do you know what Bachelor in Paradise is?
I know.
They send them to the island and they're all dating and like messing around with each other. If they had enough of the Golden Bachelor and Bachelorettes, they could put them on an island and have them do the Golden Bachelor in Paradise.
It's not.
I want it.
Okay,
I want it. I
right.
think it'd be so good. There'd be so many naps. There'd be a lot
so
of
many naps.
I wonder what the dates would look like. Like, it would
probably
be so good.
Probably a lot like the others, you know?
It'd be so good.
Just the older people doing it.
Well, because the young people, they all want to be like Instagram famous. Like, I don't want to watch people like that anymore. I want a degree. I feel like a lot of the women on Gerry's season were very genuine. And that's what I want to see. I want to see TV that looks like genuine people expressing their genuine emotions. Yeah. You know? And I feel like we're more likely to get that in a demographic that hasn't used The Bachelor as like a jumping off point to launch social media careers.
Yep.
All right. Well, I hope this cleared it up, because
how we feel anyway.
Yeah, we just wanted to be more clear about how we felt after kind of settling down from processing.
Like, if people want to go off with this clarification, go for it, because people were like all over the place on the last one. And
that's
like,
true.
If this makes you feel differently, like, you know, let us know. Like
definitely not the intention though, just trying to share our
we're not
opinions.
trying to tell other people how to feel. It's just how we feel.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So and we feel a little bit differently actually too.
Yeah, for sure.
Because I think we got hit differently since I was the one like crying the entire show. I feel a little bit more betrayed than you do. I think.
I'm like totally expected. Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks for watching, and tell us who you want to see for Golden Bachelorette. And then again, if there are any shows that are coming up that you want to watch together, let us know, because we're definitely open to suggestions on that front.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
And then I got it knocked, and I started going,
ridiculous.
Oh, that was a tearjerker.
Hey, we're gonna go on a cruise this summer. You should come with us.